In what's been a crazy year for crypto, lots of players in the space have rightfully pointed out that lots of the chaos came from CeFi or centralized platforms. And if that's true, that means that DeFi has big role to play in the future of the space. On this episode of Money Panda, I was discussing with Charles Ellingsen, the CEO of the Unity Network, and our conversation was centered around the future of DeFi. So let's get into it, shall we?
Welcome to the Money Panda, hosted by Elvis Kolawole.
Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the Money Panda podcast. My name is Elvis Kolawole, your host. And as always, we try to talk about pressing issues in the world of Web3, crypto, and of course, finance. Today, I have an inspiring DeFi founder with me. His name is Charles Ellingsen, and he is the CEO of the Unity Network. Charles, do you mind introducing yourself and telling the audience a little bit about what you do, what the Unity Network is all about, and you personally?
Thank you, Elvis. Yeah, I'm Charles Ellingsen, the CEO and founder of Unity Network. Unity Network is a software development company which delivers Elicom. Elicom is our first application. It will work as a ticket management system, but in the decentralized way. So we will have, it will be a secure open platform supporting NFT use cases, features like proof of attendance, and it's built to support both private and professional organizers. It will have a full suite of ticket sales and event management system, basically.
Awesome, awesome. So basically, it's NFT ticketing, but decentralized,
Yeah,
unlike
it's NFT ticketing. Yeah, yeah.
but decentralized. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. I actually can't wait to see. Is it like fully operational at the moment?
Behind the scenes, we are working at it, but it's set to be delivered for the public eyes in Q1. So it's very exciting time we are entering now at Unity
Awesome.
Network.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed for that because I can imagine like that's an entire subset of the NFT ticketing and decentralized space. I'm yet to see like lots of because lots of the offerings right now are quite centralized. So of course I like to see a DeFi player put their hands in something like that. So to the business of the day, we're here to talk about the future of DeFi. That's the title of today's podcast. That's what we're going to be speaking on, and this will be the very first on this series. And Charles, I mean, I'm sure that you've seen everything the DeFi space has gone through in the past year, say the past couple of years. You know, um, DeFi was one of the most heralded use cases of crypto over the past few years, and some people say, okay, it has lived up to its potential, but of course, I feel that there is a lot to grow. So, for people who are unaware, how would you differentiate decentralized finance from CeFi or TradFi, which is traditional or centralized finance? What's the best way to differentiate both for people who don't quite know what it's about?
Yeah, the main difference between DeFi and traditional finance and centralized, say, is that DeFi is open. The beauty with it's tamper evident and can be viewed by anyone, anytime to all for all eternity. That's the beauty of it. That it's harder for criminals to, with illicit intents, to hide their tracks, which leads to them getting caught, as we have seen earlier in the past few years, that people are getting caught in crypto and crypto getting a bad name. We should celebrate every time someone is getting caught, because these things happens in traditional finance all the time as well. But there's no public ledger, someone who can snoop and find the ones with the listed intents. So it's a good thing. That's the beauty of DeFi.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned the openness of DeFi and the fact that criminals could easily be caught, and because there is a public ledger out there to track transactions and That's not quite there in centralized finance. But I mean, if if regular criminals could be caught, that means regular everyday people could have their expenses tracked as well, I suppose.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, of course it is. But to make it clear, you must have someone else's wallet ID to track them. It's for everyone who sees the public ledger. It's just many IDs, wallet IDs, and I think that is what you got to sacrifice. It's some bit of privacy, of course, but to make it more open. Think of it always. If you are going to give money to some charitable foundation, wouldn't it be awesome to track your money from your hand over to whatever charitable foundation source that should have it? Like if you're trying to make shelter dogs happier, you can track your money on the blockchain from your wallet all the way to the store to buy the dog food or bowls or whatever. And we have WeChain who can track the food source until it goes to the dog that needs it. Um, this is something that the DeFi solves. This DeFi introduced this to the world of finance. This doesn't exist in traditional finance or CeFi.
Awesome, awesome. I love the example of the dogs. I hope I get to see that the dogs are actually fed. So that's great. Okay, so I love the fact that these transactions are somewhat trackable, but then in a way I could almost argue that that does negate some of the um, some of the benefits that some crypto entrants might have loved. Say they love transactions um, that are resistant to censorship and stuff like that. And that brings me to a further point. Um, what do you see right now as some of the most pressing problems in DeFi? And do you actually think there are solutions to these problems? I think off the top of my head, I can say something that concerns me personally is the security. I mean, whenever we have code that is open sourced, yeah, it does like give openness to the community. It does empower the community to make decisions and to also improve on the code. And it allows for transparency. But then with that transparency comes the fact that okay, there are bad actors that could potentially take advantage of this and perhaps exploit weaknesses, which we've seen with numerous DeFi platforms over the past few years. So, are there other problems you see in the world of DeFi right now, and how do you possibly see them being solved?
Yeah, very good question. The biggest challenges in DeFi, I think now is user education, and it's hard to navigate. It's hard to enter, basically, with the knowledge you need to have. It's easier to be scammed in DeFi. It's easier to get your funds stolen. But on the other hand, you are in full control of your own funds, your own value, your own money. I think that DeFi at the moment is around the time of 1999 internet, and it's like the internet at that time. And I tried to navigate the web browser in 99. It was hard, and it will become easier when DeFi platforms mature to the stage that they have their web browser basically, and the user education is up and going. I think the growth will be very good. It will be very disruptive for the whole finance space to have DeFi on the level that centralized exchanges are. But what do you think? How about who do you think, Elvis, should have the basically the responsibility to teach all of these newcomers in crypto about CeFi, about the dangers of holding your funds and basically holding your seed phrase on a paper note, how you should store it and teaching everyone. What do you think?
I think I think, for example, you said something very important, right? The fact that like lots of DeFi platforms are basically the same way the internet was in 1999. And like you said, it was a bit complicated if you weren't like a bit of a nerd. And so I would say the main difference between 1999 and say just 10 years later in 2009 was the user experience of the apps. So I would say that's a weakness right now. The user experience is a little complicated. It's not exactly every single person that has the patience to say learn new terminologies or learn new habits. Like new habits
Oh,
tend to remove incentives to try and learn technologies. Say if I need to, learn how to remember my seed phrase, creative ways to remember my seed phrase, get myself different wallets for this DeFi platform, another wallet for that DeFi platform, and all that. I think it's a bit of a learning curve for like most people. So I think it's two-pronged. I think one, developers, people building in the space should make the experience is far more user-friendly. The UX should be far more user-friendly and more tailored towards everyday people and not just people who are used to using financial apps. Because I think like for the most part, it's people with financial incentives who are actually used to certain world of financial apps. Those are the kinds of people you will see in the world of DeFi, maybe certainly in the world of crypto in general. And I think too, generally, there should be some kinds of standards in place, just the way the early internet and people formed organizations to help advance the way the web was developing, to help set standards, to help regulations to be developed. I think ultimately it's important for us to like have some sort of organization like that. That will be a centralized organization, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the platforms themselves will be centralized. So of course, just somebody to set standards that are easy to follow across the board so that everyone else, has the standard that they can easily recognize and, work with. So yeah, that's how I think it can work. And yeah, you did mention the problem of user experiences. Do you know of any platform, perhaps your platform, that is, maybe perhaps you're building in a way that could help users, experience DeFi in a more friendly way? And for instance, all these,
yeah,
okay, sorry, one more thing. All these other problems in DeFi, are there ways your company or other companies are helping to solve them already?
yes, absolutely. I think many current centralized exchanges are doing good work on teaching and educating people with Instagram posts and all of that, Facebook posts and such. It's to draw in attention to the world of crypto. And we have seen an immense growth in crypto and just people acknowledging that crypto exists from 2014 when I started with crypto. It was unheard of. It was unheard of.
Wow.
So it
Wow. So you're like an absolute OG.
yeah. I'm a veteran now.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Continue.
So what we do at Unit Network, we're trying to have give the decentralized feeling, but with a centralized authority. Um, I don't think that truly decentralized finance can exist. I don't think it. I think that what we are looking for is a hybrid case where you have the aspect of decentralization, which is amazing with the open ledger, transparency, and people handling their own funds and having control over their own funds. But with a centralized authority, like in Unity Network, that would be me, with being the CEO, that if anything goes wrong, I am the one to blame. I'm the one who would be held accountable. I think that would be the CeDeFi would be an amazing thing, and what the world needs. Would like to point out also that the recent collapses in blockchain all originates from centralized players and bad actors. They do not reflect the decentralized ecosystem.
Wow, wow. You just said something very, very powerful. I mean, I'll say this is huge because I've never actually seen any founder tell me this, and I have a feeling, this sentiment might resonate with other founders. What I'm talking about is your statement right now that perhaps a true decentralized use case might not quite be possible. Perhaps what we might have is decentralized user experience with centralized control, right, of the platforms, just like in your case, where you as a CEO actually does control user fronts and operations. That's huge. I'm yet to hear that from anyone, frankly. This is a first for me. So yeah, okay. I have a feeling that so many other founders have that feeling, and of course, possibly later on in this series, I will see if, hey, there are other founders that feel the same way. But I'm glad you shared that with me. So thank you. So lastly, I want to know, what do you think the role of DeFi will be in the coming future, say in the next 5 years, owing to the problems that CeFi and TradFi created? Like you said, of course, most of the problems out here in this space is overwhelmingly created by, CeFi platforms. Um, there's one really huge exchange. There's a huge exchange everyone has been talking about, and of course, you must have heard about their implosion. And of course, this shows, the sort of things that could happen, when there is CeFi. But, what does DeFi provide in order to solve these problems, especially now that you say, okay, it's not exactly decentralized, it's probably some sort of hybrid model. And even though, yes, that is different from what CeFi actually offers, what role do you think DeFi will play in this space when it comes to actually solving these problems created by these entities?
Yeah, I think when you think about how to solve it, we must first think of what is the root of the issue. And I think we see at centralized exchanges, decentralized system, and they try to prove proof of funds and do things to make their users at ease. But I think it's not enough. The code should either be open source or at least audited by a third party, and the ledger should be public. I think if we had a third party like Certic or Hacken who had audited the code and had an overview over FTX, we wouldn't have this issue with a backdoor and funds being locked up. And it's awful what happened. We see that time and time again, that centralized exchanges are riding on hopium, meme coins, and bullish statements, which always will lean on the impulse people, the ones who are impulsive and want to earn quick cash, or the discount customers who are in search for the next best thing.
Okay, so you're saying you're saying DeFi. Okay, so in the case of FTX, for example, I mean, let's say, for example, a certain DeFi platform doesn't exactly have backdoors for hackers to, for hackers to come in.
We don't know because they aren't audited by a third party. It could be.
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying, of course, they should be audited. So do you think this practice in DeFi is a reason why it could possibly solve the problems from CeFi, for example, the fallout from FTX? Do you think, for example, DeFi could help bring back more trust in crypto um, in a way that CeFi has been unable to do?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. You saw the metrics, and we have been following the events after the fall of the big exchange, as you said, and people were seeking a decentralized system. We saw a very high growth in people using Uniswap and these and that sort of decentralized exchanges to swap their money. Um, so it's absolutely, you see that people are getting, not, I don't like to call them smarter, but they learn about the mistakes of the big ones, and yeah, teach themselves. And I would like to point out also that exchanges should be only used for what they are intended for, to exchange money. These big exchanges and centralized system earn money from you to do leverage trading, to store your crypto in their
Like a bank?
exchange, which is not what they are intended for. You should store your crypto in your own wallet, locked and loaded, and praise the Lord that you aren't having those coins on the exchange if anything goes wrong. So please don't store your crypto on an exchange. Store it in your wallet, and if you need to exchange it, then use the exchange for what it's intended for, and then take it back into your wallet. And I see this and I've been in this space since 2014. Everyone who has done it this way have come out on top. But everyone who has started with leverage trading, I don't know one soul who has done leverage trading over the years and won, basically.
Not even one person.
No.
Wow, wow, wow. That's huge. But I suppose, yeah. I mean, you know better. Being here for 8 years, 8 years, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, that's true. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, like you did say, I think the culture that DeFi brings, of an exchange doing what an exchange is supposed to do, which is help you exchange your tokens and not act like a bank where they store your tokens, where they take your assets and use them in trading, is really the best way forward. So thank you so much. So we're moving to the last segment, like I said earlier. So we're going to play a game where I mentioned some players in the crypto space or in the Web3 space, and you describe them using one word, just one word. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right, all right, all right, yeah, all right, let's go. The first person is Vitalik Buterin. So describe Vitalik in one word.
Intelligent.
Wow, wow. Intelligent is one way to put it. Yeah, I think he is really intelligent. He's a bit of yeah, he does have a lot of foresight into future of the space. So yeah, some people have described him as Einstein. Yeah, so I mean, I guess y'all are saying the same thing. He is intelligent. So the next person is Elon Musk. Describe Elon Musk with one word.
Influencer.
Wow, influencer, not influential, influencer. Did I get you right?
Yes,
Influencer.
correct.
Wow, wow, wow,
Like a
wow.
Kardashian.
Wow, wow. Okay, okay. That's one way to look at it. Yeah, he is influential, definitely. I mean, I think Dogecoin users would agree. So,
Yeah.
so a few more persons. Jack Dorsey. Describe Jack Dorsey with just one word.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's interesting. I mean, especially the beard, quite interesting. Also describe CZ of Binance in one word.
Energetic.
Wow, why energetic?
He says he's persistent, and I've heard him talking. He's actually very calm in the most interviews, but he in real life is very energetic.
Oh, I see. I see. I love that. I mean, I love people who give off that. That's beautiful. So, and the very last person is Sam Bankman-Fried, the recent CEO of FTX. Please describe SBF in with one word, just one word.
Reckless,
Wow. Okay. I guess
not in a good way.
yeah, I mean definitely not in a good way. I guess trading with user funds and is not exactly the most conservative way to run an exchange.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but yeah, understandably. So thank you so much, Charles. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you giving myself and the audience some context into, the role that DeFi will play in the coming future, and also clarifying a little bit more about decentralized finance. Do you have any last words, perhaps about yourself, about your company in the near future?
Well, I would like to give a shout out to our community, of course, the Unity Network, and as well as anyone who would like to join us, with you as well. We have an NFT competition going live this evening in 6 hours from now, where you can
Oh,
earn a gold NFT for Elicom, which will give you access to merchandise, early access to the platform, and such and so on. We want to give back to the community in this how we do it.
awesome.
So it will be an easy competition, share some content, bring out the word about EVCom, and you would be able to get this NFT.
Awesome, awesome. I mean, it's possible they might not exactly be able to take part in it by the time this is published, but hey, I'm very sure you're going to do more rewards for the community going forward, of course. So,
Yes, in January as well. It's still going.
of course, of course. And this is definitely going to be published well before January and beyond. So, of course, I really look forward to that, and I look forward to tracking the progress of that. So, thank you so much, Charles Ellingsen, and I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate the insight you brought to us. And as for me, Elvis, I do look forward to speaking more on DeFi in the coming months with more founders. If you're listening to this, you can be sure that we're going to bring on more players in the space, and we are going to speak more deeply into these issues. And it's going to be fun, it's going to be insightful, it's going to be educative, and of course, it's going to open our eyes a little bit more. So thank you so much, and till next time. Bye.